Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Okay, sir.
Where's the interviewer?
Okay, sir. In 5, 4, 3, 2, we are live, sir.
Thank you. All right, my name is Omoyele Sowore. I'm the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. And those who are planning to plunge us into further misery and economic crisis that we've never seen before. Here is a young man who started in 1989 at the University of Lagos to fight for what is right. Then it was the struggle to end military rule. And after the military left in 1999, I engaged in other struggles to expand the democratic space for Nigerians. Thugs and people who run around following them when elections are near in their so-called mass rallies. We are interested in restoring the dignity of the Nigerian citizen, and we're sure with your help we can make this happen. Young people in particular, there are 22 million of you who have registered to vote. This is the time to show that you want a different country, and I'm here to tell you that a new Nigeria is possible. And we technology in the world today that can make Nigeria finally a competitive country, respected country on the continent of Africa, that will make Nigeria not become the retirement home of thieves and gerontocrats, but a vibrant society driven by the energy of its youth, their brilliance, and their relentless interest in creativity. And you know that as of today, entertainment is driving both our reputation and revenue, because some young people stood up and didn't wait for government. But you cannot replace government with creativity. When you have an opportunity to have a creative government that can drive creativity and progress in the country. That's why we're here today, and that is the reason we're engaging and interacting with Nigerians in every sector. And today we are on SceneOneTV, our home of Jennifer Diaries, to talk to those of you who want to know and want to find out about the president.
Talk about the lapses of previous government.
Yes.
What they have failed to do. What they have failed to do. Talk about it then. Next, when we go on break, we'll come back to another.
Okay.
Who's the question? You want to take that far?
I stick.
The far, yeah, take it out.
Yeah, I saw the Bible here. I thought you guys would have got the Quran so that we can balance it.
Who's your
I need to charge it. Can I bring it? Let them still bring it.
Sir, the questions are here.
The questions are coming.
Yes, sir.
Let's hold on to that when we get to the
Yeah.
next segment. After the lapses, when we come back. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're in short though. If you know you stay there, please don't move because you'll be in short.
But you may be.
So when we come back, sir, we'll talk about the lapses of the government, of our previous government, and how you intend to.
No, we need to ask the questions.
How you
Questions
intend
are
to
very
change it.
important. Sorry. Okay, the question.
In this election, and you find out that almost 50% of registered voters, 22 million voters, are young people, people who should have nothing to do with the PDP, or the APC. These are the political parties that failed you when you're looking for education, they're the ones who failed you when you're looking for a job. And if we can have that block vote of 22 million voters, young people, let's even assume that we have just half of that, that's 10 million. And then we go to our parents who are suffering, who want to climb out of poverty. That gives us another to elect the right person in this election, and you have that person in front of you. I'd like to take the next question.
What qualifies you for the position of the president?
Oh, and I have 30 years under my belt of fighting as an activist. I have another 12 years of being an entrepreneur, and I have several things that I can tell you today that qualifies me better than anybody. And I'm not saying this to brag, who's ever been a Nigerian president in the last 58 years. I have the education, I have the competence, I have the capacity, I have the history, I also have the stamina. And I use the word stamina not, to look down on anybody, but to just let you know that we don't fighters and leaders with the best character that can make that happen. So someone that's dependable and someone you can trust that will deliver on his promises. And I'm one person, and you can check my records to be sure that you will not lose if you support our movement and our political party to take Nigeria out of the woodworks.
Next question. As a nation, our over-dependency on petroleum products for income is on the high side. What other resources of revenue are you looking to explore if you get into power?
I will answer this by just providing a short, analogy of what has happened to Nigeria in the last few years. And there was an intervention from a man known as Bill youth. We have an opportunity to participate in the knowledge economy that's already started by investing in technology, by investing in education, digital type education, so that our next best product will not be the discovery of oil or another mineral, cash crop. It will be the Nigerian person, the resource, the human resource developed to the point that we can have in Nigeria produce a Facebook or an Apple product or something similar. It is the truth. It is true that our next product should be the Nigerian person. China has done it. They did this in India. Population is no longer a liability. It's become an asset. Next question, I thought.
So I have a call, sir.
Yes, okay. So they said there's a call for me.
It's a voice call.
Okay. It's a voice call.
Business
What's that call? Okay.
The past government has failed to protect its citizens from terrorism. What are your plans to ensure our safety?
The past government, and I hate to talk about the past government because we should actually retire them into the past by February 16, 2019. But what is the cause of terrorism is because over the years we've mismanaged opportunities that ought to go to young people. We refuse to send them to school, and bulk of people who are in Boko Haram are children that were abandoned or sent to schools that they call emergency schools. And when they grew up with no hope of finding a country that can support them, they took to other means of challenging the status quo ante. The result is what we have today as Boko Haram terrorism in the country. But what is driving this is that it was a crisis at a point. Now Boko Haram has become a business. Yes. You're welcome, caller.
Hello.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear.
This is Daniel calling from Akure, Ondo State.
You're welcome to SceneOneTV, where we're live today.
Yes, Mr. Sowore, we have to ask you some questions.
Please go ahead.
The question is, I have not been able to see
So back to the question, sir. On terrorism, sir.
Yeah. So the way to fight terrorism is to equip your forces, train them, and invest in your people, and have international collaborations that are dignified. When I mean international collaborations, a lot of people within the international community, countries that are fighting terrorism, have experience in fighting terrorism, don't trust Nigerian leaders
guide you and protect you because I want you to win this election. That is my intention towards you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
no problem
much.
at all.
Yes.
So I just want to say I wish you well and I wish you good luck and God will continue to guide you.
Thank you. Amen to that. And please kindly keep contacting members of your family all over Nigeria, friends, and to ensure that they don't give up. We will win this election. We are very sure that there's nobody in his right mind who will vote for the PDP or APC, knowing how dangerous.
How about the coalition? I really don't want us to miss this opportunity because I have tried to reach out my family, my people, so I try to encourage them that this is the highest opportunity that we have got. Because when I see the two other political parties fighting themselves, it gives me more hope. It gives me courage that yes, now that they are fighting, it gives us the opportunity to work harder and have the numbers of votes that can make us overcome them. So
That's right.
What about the coalition with Durotori and Mingalo and all of that?
Yes, you've been hearing about coalitions since we started campaigning, and there's been a number of coalitions. In Kenya or Kenya, we've been in Kaba, Lokoja, Abuja, we've been in Suleja, we've been in Naibawa. You know where Naibawa is a park in Kano where you have a lot of places you've never heard about before. We traveled by land, we traveled by air, and we've traveled by boat. All of this is documented. So we cannot then collapse our structures into people who are not.
I'm not talking about collapsing the AAC.
What was it? We welcome them.
If you have received a call from any of them that want to.
We have opened our phone lines and said you are free to come join us. They are free to come and join us. They themselves admit when we meet that we're doing a lot of work. In fact, they say. And we have some of the most we have not heard from them, and this is very important that you know that we have not heard from them. I cannot speak for them when I've not heard from them. I'm just telling you directly what is going on. I'm passing on information that is available to me to you, and you know we do this on a regular basis. That's why we interact with you as supporters from time to time. When we leave this place, very soon you see us on the couch. We are almost on every night disclosing how we are raising money, who is making contributions, and things that are happening during our State of the Nation appearances on the couch.
Okay, thank you, sir. I don't want to take too much of your time, and also I really pray God guide you and protect you, because I don't know where to get your strength from. Get your strength from God.
I get it from you guys. I get it from you guys. You guys have been very supportive, and I appreciate you. There's another call coming in, and we're going to take that call. That's from the UK. Hello, good morning from Nigeria.
Hello, good morning. This is Omoyele Sowore calling from London, UK.
Comrade, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. I just want to say thank you for all you've been doing, all the efforts you've been making, for opening the eyes of a lot of Nigerians. You have triggered something in the brains of some Nigerians that will really believe in the next generation. I just want to pray that God keep giving you the strength to carry on all you are doing. And let me go straight to my question.
Yes.
My question is that a lot of friends have been asking me that the AAC and the Take It Back movement, what are the stand on Nigerians in diaspora rights to vote when you come into power come February 15, 2019? Because the Nigerians in diaspora are contributing immensely to the development of the country. So we need to be a part in who will lead us. We need to be able to vote, to be able to vote in our respective embassies. That's why I'm asking you this question, because you have a lot of fan base in the Take It Back movement, and the AAC have a lot of fan base in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The question is very, very direct, and the answer is also very, very direct. The right to vote by diasporans as soon as we win the election, as we're sworn in, as it's going to come in the mail. It's going to be one of the first laws that will be passed, by the National Assembly or wherever is required for it to be done. So I have a special bias for the diaspora. I've lived in the US for 19 years, and I know that we contribute more money to this economy than even oil. Over 50 billion naira. $50 billion is what comes into our economy through diaspora investments, both direct and indirect. When I use the word investment, I use so advisedly. I'm talking about money you send to your family, you set up a farm, you're building a house. You are making serious contribution directly to the Nigerian economy, and you deserve a right to vote. In fact, that is overdue, and they've been playing politics with it, because they know that if the diasporans were to have a right to vote in this election, we would have won the election hands down by now. So diaspora voting is a fundamental right that must be respected as soon as we're sworn in. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. I say you are the David of our time. Nigerians vote wisely. The spice I eat.
Yes.
Spice I eat.
That's right.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. That's okay. So we're taking a break now, and we'll be back after this break. Thank you.
We are losing power on that battery, so we need to come
This phone also needs to charge.
Yes. So let's go to the cannabis. I'll go to the
Cannabis conversation. Are you able to see on their page is live?
Mute it.
Professor, you mentioned they don't want the old system.
Okay, give me the charger.
Okay, sir. Once we come back from this break, talk about the cannabis policy.
Don't come back here. Then we'll fix them. Yes. Just play that one or two more breaks.
It's 15%.
This one is 50%. Maybe I will still survive the entire show.
Let's see video calling.
Video calling.
It's another video call.
Yes.
They don't give up.
Yeah. Video call.
Video call.
Like it's fine.
No, no. So can you see this, sir? Can you see this? These are the questions. Can you see
Okay.
Can you see them?
Yeah.
So we are in terrorism, which is this one. So this is the next section. So you can pick the question yourself and answer.
Okay.
And also,
So come with.
yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
So in go like
Hello, Mr. President.
How are you? So, can you hold on so that when we come back to...
No, you can
Oh, I can talk to him?
I'll call you.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell me to turn up his music.
You have to...
A lot about you, sir. Please, I really appreciate your effort. I really appreciate everything about you. The problem we are facing here in Europe is because of our leader, because they are treating us like an animal, but they are still giving us accommodation. Because what our president, our government cannot give us, this country are giving us.
Yes.
But the problem is, I've already made a lot of conversation, a lot of calls to my family at home. They are for Omoyele Sowore 2019. All my mom.
They're talking about the future of Nigeria. My name is
Hello?
Omoyele Sowore. Can you tell us your name, please?
My name is Ubalua. I'm calling from Belgium. All cabal guys pumping them, like sponsoring them. Those people, they don't. You just look at them. They don't go anywhere. They're just in their house. They're just in their house. But you just look at the Mohalu. The Mohalu.
We come into office in 2019. After that, we are also doing 160,000 health workers across the country. The power sector alone, where we would increase from 3,000 megawatts of electricity to about 24,000, powering over 40 million homes, they will create no less than 2 million jobs, as it did in Egypt and Morocco and Tunisia. The agricultural sector, we are creating 1,000 jobs per local government. Those are 774 local governments in Nigeria with 1,000. You can do the maths and you know how many jobs will be created right away. And all these jobs are going to be created both in infrastructure, roads construction, railway construction, will have its own multiplier effect that will create and stabilize the economy of Nigeria and make a lot of people have some source of income that will make their lives stable and that will make them feel belonged to this country. And it's so clear that we are the ones that are able to create jobs. And our position is that if we increase the minimum wage from what it is now, 18,000 or 30,000, depending on who you are listening to 100,000, that will increase the purchasing power of workers and will boost the economy of the country through the small and medium enterprises that are going to draw from that increase and that boost. It is simple economics. It is what needs to be done for Nigeria to have an economic system that provides employment for its timid youth and stabilize employment for those who are already in employment. Because our problem is not just unemployment. We have a big problem of underemployment. A lot of people, somebody who is a graduate, who is riding around in Keke Napep, cannot be said to be employed. That is not the kind of employment we are promising you. We are promising you the kind of employment that comes with the benefit of being fully employed in the country. So that we solve our employment problem, and the education sector and the massive investment we will put there. Insurance opportunities, and it will also attract so many of our doctors that have left to come back. And when they do come back, they bring in, hard-earned income revenue into the country, in addition to the expertise that will also jumpstart in our economy in a lot of ways. And we invest in the tech sector. There's no question about that sector needs so much investment that it will create so many opportunities for people. And tech right now is the highest way, is the surest way of earning high income for both individuals and our own country, Nigeria. So that's unemployment. There's a question here about the health sector that is on the verge of, well, they said decay, but I think collapse is the best word to use because of lack of manpower, adequate facilities, equipment to foster better healthcare. What are your plans to improve this? Again, we have to invest in the health sector, but it's not just a general, statement of investing in it. It has to be strategic investment in, high, tech investment. High tech investment in the health sector. Also, using other means of bringing health to people that is technological driven. But what we need to start with, and what we will start with, is a universal basic health. We just have to bring in people who are honest, people who are knowledgeable and have the expertise to manage the place so that it's not serving as a slush fund. But the NHS so far has only been helping people who are employed. We must rapidly expand it to include everybody who is in need of health, and everybody is in need of health care. And health has to be democratic. It has to be, democratized, so that every Nigerian who is in this country today have access to healthcare. So many of our callers today were calling from different parts of Europe, and you find out that even when they don't have the paperwork to either be permanent residents or citizens, they have healthcare. They are provided with shelter by the government of those countries. That's why a lot of people are leaving our countries through the Mediterranean Sea, and they don't care whether they die in the course of getting there, because these governments in countries that they are rushing to provide some form of support to them. We even had people who have been calling us from Libya who said to us that internet is faster and better in Libya than you have in Nigeria. They have access to housing, clean water, and Nigeria that is not at war can't provide that. So it's as a result of failed leadership, and you cannot continue to make investment by failed leaders because they don't even understand how it is, and when they do it, they also have a propensity to steal. And so no matter how much they invest, they're likely to steal it until you have genuine, honest, and focused leaders who have integrity. It's like pouring water into baskets with this current set of leaders. That's why we want to gladly change the country. Are we taking a break?
In five, 4, 3, 2, your lights up.
Thank you. So I've just watched the video regarding my position on cannabis, and I'm talking to you about it today because a lot of people have heard me talk about cannabis, and the first question they asked me is, "Do you smoke weed?" And my answer is no. My position on cannabis is not driven by whether I smoke it or not. It's based on my knowledge and understanding of how the world works. And shortly after I made that statement at a public seminar on health in Abuja, several countries, as if they were listening to me, started legalizing weed, including cannabis, including Canada. South Africa legalized it. Ghana started talking about exports of cannabis to countries that are in need of them. Even countries that have very strong drug laws in Asia, I think Singapore and Thailand are already talking about legalizing weed in their own countries. And what I've said to Nigerians is that, look, you're talking about diversification of the economy. You can make over $4 to $10 billion from the export of weed, and my position is export because weed has been shown, cannabis has been shown to have medicinal values. And when Canada legalized cannabis, they discovered that they could only provide 30% of the demand. So it was a demand and supply issue. And I said to our people, and I stand by it, that instead of burning cannabis through the NDLA every year, we burn about 1.5 trillion naira worth of cannabis. Why don't we just package and export them before we are priced out of that market? Other countries are doing it. Even the UK is known as the world biggest supplier of cannabis, exporter of cannabis to other countries. But we are here wasting our time debating whether we can export cannabis or not, and other countries are making a killing out of it. Before they tell us that our cannabis is not good enough because they are growing it in other countries because they've seen into the future, I'm saying it's going to be something we will seriously consider, especially the ones that add value to human life, the medicinal value of cannabis. So that was where that conversation came from, and I have been proven right by several scientists and countries who have now legalized cannabis, including a lot of African countries. I think Zimbabwe has already done it as well, and people who understand how the future will work agree with me completely that cannabis is the new gold. And if you have it in Ekiti, Edo State and Delta State, you better just package it and sell it to people who need it, both for medicinal and recreational purposes. All right, so
Okay,
we're going on the street.
Yes, this is the street. This is what people do.
Legalizing weed in Nigeria will increase the crime level in Nigeria because we don't have control. increase the crime level?
Sowore is the one guy that is very vibrant about. He talks everything about. He's not fearing of anybody. Sowore is one guy that you need to win this election. If you don't win this election, we are still going to suffer in another decade in this Nigeria. This guy said he's going to legalize weed in Nigeria. Weed is causing cancer in Nigeria right now. We need to export weed to another country to make something better for us. We need to make our economy to be very global in the world now. You understand me?
Okay, what I think about it is a good idea, and I support the motive of which is coming out to the 2019 election. So hopefully prepare that he's going to do something nice to our great nation.
So what do you actually think about this guy? The guy is good. History, be good. Popular, Viola, fought for students, non-so-many students movement. He's been a good guy. Yeah, really good. Okay, so the aspect of the weed. No, the weed, you should leave it that way. We have so many agencies, NDLA and likes. You should leave the way the weed the way it is.
So very correct with him. So any calls are coming, you pick like 1 or 2 calls. The next of the questions, maybe just one or two questions, 1 or 2 phone calls. Then we can wrap it up. It's been connected.
But you should try the way to enforce and empower the agencies that fight against drug abuse. Alright, that's very nice. Thank you very much. Well, we wish you success. I wish we had a third force, okay, to fight against these legacy parties like APC and PDP.
For the legalizing weed,
We are coming back in 15 seconds.
it's going to boost the economy. That one is good.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, we are live.
Yes, the next question I have here is a question about Naira crashing in the global market, thereby increasing the price of demand and supply. So what measures would you take to ensure Naira remains relevant in the global market? We have to understand what is happening to the Naira. First, there are people who are manipulating our Naira because they benefit directly from the crash of the currency. And this is being done directly from the Central Bank of Nigeria. There's a cabal that is destroying the Naira so that they make money from it. What they do is that they go to the Central Bank, they get dollars from the back door, they do what they call round tripping, and they sell the dollars and make Naira, they make profits right there. There are about 5 different cannot back up your currency by fiat. We must become a productive economy, and that is what we're planning to do with our Spicer Heat manifesto. That we have a secure country. Security is our #1 priority, followed by power, electricity, and followed by infrastructure, fighting corruption and plugging the loopholes that make us lose over $5 billion every year to corrupt people in this country. And then creating an economy that is all-inclusive, that is productive, and an economy that works for the Nigerian people. And also restructuring the country, health, education, agriculture, and tourism are the other part. So we'll take the next call. Hello, this is a Nigerian call. Good morning from here.
Good morning, this is Dr. from Ondota.
Thank you so much. Please, can you go directly to your question so that we can take more calls before we end this show?
I understand you are trying your best, and all Nigerian youth appreciate what you have been trying.
Thank you.
I would suggest that you should do more at radio GMB.
Okay.
So that so many people will hear you. Sometimes when you campaign, some people will be inside their farm.
Yes.
And they won't be able to see.
Yes.
Because most people often listen to radio.
Okay.
So at this time, maybe you should do more on radio, GMB, or TV. That more people will hear you, because I spoke with one woman and I asked them about you. They said they're tired of PDP and APC.
Yes.
that they need, and they need a new person. So you need to do more so that they'll be able to know you that you are here. So, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And guys, you're hearing from one of our callers from Ondo State who's talking about making, so we rely on the public to raise funds, and we'll be happy if we get more funds to make radio jingles available to those who may not have heard about us, or those who have not decided who to vote for, or who are tired of the failed political parties, the legacy parties, APC and PDP. So as soon as we get funding, we'll make this available, and we thank those of you who keep supporting us. And transparently, we're raising funds and raise more funds. There's a call from Sweden. Hello. You want to reduce the volume of the device that's streaming behind you so that we can have a productive conversation.
You said what?
Reduce the volume of your device. There's an echo coming back from the conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, please let's hear your question directly so that we can take more calls before we leave the show.
Yeah, I don't really have a question. I just need to contribute. You are going to be our next president, so I'll start to address you as Mr. President.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. My name is Omoyele, and I'm calling from Sweden.
Yes.
And I refer myself to Sowore because I think I'm Sowore addicted right now. And I've been following your movement, Mr. President, for quite a long time now. And I'm an army. I'm a nurse in the Swedish military force.
Wow.
But one thing, when it comes to security, I spoke to many people that have a platform and discuss about your movement. I said, in Nigeria, Boko Haram, I'm not a general, I'm not a colonel in the military force.
It doesn't matter. You're a
in my
military
own
man.
experience,
Yes.
I think Boko Haram can be crushed in 1 month in Nigeria. This is just common tactics. And it's common sense. You understand, Mr. President? Because, our generals, as you said, they're making a lot from this, what we call Boko Haram insurgents. And they don't want this war to be ending, because when it just ends, then it's not as business as usual for them. But one thing, I've been calling and asking about your security, because I watch all your campaigns, because in a day, we have not seen you online, then it's like I'm sick. I'm like, sure, I'm sick. So, but I know I'm not Nigerian to vote, but I've done a lot, because I can assure you that I have made up to 351 voters there in Nigeria, which they've confirmed and they're going to vote for you.
Wow.
Even to the extent, and there was one of the APC woman leaders, she's my auntie. So I have to call her and explain and let her know who you are and what you stand for. I'm so happy and glad to say that she also has changed her mind about APC, and she promised to convince some of her friends that they are going to join our party, and which I believe we are taking it back, Mr. President.
Thank you so
We are
much.
taking it back. Yeah, and I'm very, very happy that you've done this from a election, because history will tell, and your name will be written in the history.
Yeah.
For now, I just want to wish you good job, Mr. President, and we are very proud of you, and we are at your back. We are taking it back.
Thank you so
Because,
much. Thank you so much. The producers say I want me to cut the call because they want us to wrap up.
Mr. President,
60 naira.
don't care about Nigeria.
They only care for themselves. So I'm begging all Nigerian youth to come together. These people are just using them, you know, they're just manipulating them, and it's time to say no, and we have to reject APC and PDP and vote for the right party.
Thank
God
you.
bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you. There's one call that just came in, but I think no. All right. So declining all calls. Last question here is on power supply, and our position is very clear that we need to start immediately with Swanin building power plants around the country, especially through renewable energy that will give us over 24,000 megawatts of electricity. They did it in Egypt over 2.5 years, provided employment, and over 40 million households are now connected to electricity. The same thing is happening in India, and we are going to replicate it here as soon as we are. And we mean it. This appeal is to all of you young people who are watching, or those who might be watching me later. Please, let's take our country back. Let's take it back systematically. Let's take it back with will, with focus, with competence, and most importantly, let's take everything back that we've lost over these years: our integrity. We've lost our rights, we've lost our education, we've lost our road infrastructure, we lost our hospitals, we lost pretty much everything to greedy leaders, very incompetent, wicked, and corrupt leaders in this country. And we are here to change that, and there's no going back. Thank you guys so much. Our producers. Nobody will be left, nobody will be surviving, because we will all be going under, and we must not allow that to happen. And those who want to make contributions to our campaign, we have a Zenith Bank account, is 1000602 3871 100602.